Hey, what's up, guys? We are here for another episode of In the Trenches. Of course, now we're in the snow, but we're bringing a really cool guest to you. I'm gonna go knock on his door right now. Come with us.
My man.
Hardy, my man.
Come on.
Good to see you, dude.
See you, brother.
A low-key obsession, or low-key
With
art and you know, kind of eclectic pieces.
Yeah, no, totally. I like conversation pieces.
Yeah, like obviously like the Alex the Terrible mask.
Yeah, are we rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Yeah, obviously the mask is like, that is my new prized possession.
I'm honestly sitting here. I put it on a minute ago, and I was like, "Yeah, I got to do that again." That was awesome. I'm so obsessed with Alex.
He gave me I texted him because they're all of his masks were out of stock online, and I was like, "When are you getting more of these back in?" And he was like, "I'll send you one." And so when he finally sent it out, he sent me the tracking number on the website.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Here, man, if you have any trouble, like here, here's the website." And it was all in fucking Russian. And I was like, "What the fuck am I supposed to do with this, dude?" And Russian is like, their letters aren't even the same. You know what I mean?
Man,
it's a whole different thing.
Have you met him yet?
No, not in person, but we text and like we just haven't crossed paths. And unfortunately, the 2 times that they have played in Nashville, I've been out of town.
Oh,
so,
bummer.
But I'm a big fan.
That's awesome.
It'll happen eventually.
Well, thank you for bringing us into your house, man.
Yeah,
this
man.
is really cool. And
of course,
you and I've kind of talked about it before, and it's it's finally come. I had to wait till you had some downtime from a busy year.
I know it.
But I've loved how every time you and I get together, either on photo shoots, video shoots where I'm shooting photos, backstage at your shows, we're always talking about music and like our favorite bands and stuff. I love that. And I just
it's always a good hang, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Now, did you can you remember what your first song that really affected you when you were a kid?
Yeah, dude. It was Alive, Pearl Jam. First, as far as I know, that, and ironically, which I feel like kind of sums up me as an artist, which I think is kind of hilarious.
Okay.
Freebird and Alive by Pearl Jam are the 2 first songs I ever remember hearing. And the reason it's Freebird is because, or the reason that I remember Freebird is because I learned the concept of radio when I was like, dude, I had to have been like 3 years old, but my dad was a chicken farmer. Maybe I was like 4 or 5. My dad was a chicken farmer, and we were going out to I was riding out to his chicken farm with him to check on something, whatever. Freebird comes on the radio, and then like we were out there for a couple hours, and we're on our way back, and Freebird comes back on the radio, and my dad, this is such a stupid story, but my dad was singing along to it on the way back home, and I remembered as being a little kid asking him how he knew the words after the first time we ever heard it was just a minute ago. And he was like, "No, son, this is the radio. Like this song is like," at that point he's like, "The song's like 25 years old or whatever."
How old were you?
Dude, I had to have been like 3 or 4 because I was a small kid, but the Alive story is awesome. I will never forget. I can tell you what red light in Philadelphia, Mississippi, we were sitting at, and my dad's old, I think it was like a 80 something S10. And he gets a cassette, and he was like, "Check this out. This is a new band, essentially, called Pearl Jam."
Mm-hmm.
And he puts it in, and the first thing I remember hearing is just the guitar riff to Alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude.
No. And I mean, it was like something out of a movie for me, dude.
That's
I immediately was like,
well, Pearl Jam is huge in our family because that's how my wife and I really met over our love for kind of like early 90s, but mainly Pearl Jam. And like every password in our house is Pearl Jam something, capital P, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, we have, and like, it's a lot of their early photos affected me to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's incredible what that growing up just in that perfect adolescence age as this music was coming up, you know, it was new, it was fresh. It was, you know, it was dirty,
Yeah,
didn't
dude.
sound
It
polished.
was, and yeah, you're right. I mean, it was at such a turn of. It was at that kind of that decade mark where everything changes again,
Absolutely, man.
right? That
Were
must have
you
been awesome.
oh, it was I mean, absolutely. I surfed the beaches that Eddie Vedder
Mhm.
would wrote most of his lyrics to 10, which was Black's Beach.
Mhm.
And I vividly remember being one of those kids that, you know, where you're young, right? So you're young. So I'm not allowed out in the water really with the older kids, right? So
Right.
I have to sit back and kind of guard the beach. Well, I know full well many times, I mean, I'm sitting out there in the beach and absolutely Eddie had to be out
He
there.
had to be. He was out
Had to
there.
be.
100%.
You know what I mean? Because that was the beaches he was surfing. It was,
Yeah.
you know, when
Of
you're
all those times, man.
yes, yes.
100%.
So
It's cool.
it affected me, you know, it affected me differently, I guess, you know, because me growing up around bands, you know, like I would imagine you did in Philadelphia, like there's like, either you, I don't know, I didn't choose the artist route, but I was around kids that wanted to be these musicians. So
Oh my God,
were
man.
you one of those kids that I remember looking at you? I just was
It's,
scared.
it's kind of funny though, is like there were bands in high school, and like a lot of there was a little metal band, and there was like this and that, a lot of cover bands, but like I kind of didn't really I kind of quietly moved up here
Okay.
and I wasn't like yeah, my 1 year of junior college, yeah, I had picked up the guitar and I had learned I'd written a couple songs and I would play them for my friends or maybe play them at a party or whatever it
Hmm.
was, but I very silently just sort of just tiptoed up here without anybody knowing, and then went to school and shit. So it was a little bit different for me, really. Like I was a music kid, and like I love music, and I would go to shows and I'd do this and I played instruments, but I wasn't like the one, the person that they were like, man, he's really good, he's gonna go do it one day.
Sure.
It was
Sure.
My story was definitely a little more just under the table or whatever.
Well, you know, we were talking briefly before we started rolling, and it's like I've I don't know if I've ever told you this, but like I feel a connection to your music in a lot of ways, and as friends, because I feel like we both, or I have a fond respect and appreciation for the underdog.
Yeah.
And as we were talking a little bit about my growing up, you know, that you didn't know about some of the Navy SEAL stuff, why?
Yeah.
Because I was picked on and stuff like that, right? Um, yeah, it's interesting how to me all of those moments of doubt, it didn't it didn't sink in, but it stayed. And
Hmm.
honestly, I still consider myself an underdog. I absolutely do.
It's funny how that
Are,
works because
are
that's
you similar?
yeah, definitely. I feel like I just feel like that keeps a good solid chip on your shoulder, and it's also not intentional. Like you don't wake up and say I'm going to feel like an underdog today, and maybe that'll reverse manifest me wanting to be better and keep
Yeah.
getting better at my career or whatever it is. But I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, it's just
I
something you
still feel like even not if it's sometimes it's underdog, but I mean I just still feel like I'm new to town and like still like the kid, like the young kid, which and in a lot of ways I am, but I don't know. I like having that feeling. I really do feel like it just inspires you every day, you know?
correct me if I'm wrong, but songwriting
Mm-hmm.
was the goal, right? I mean, but so when
Yeah.
you were what was it about songwriting when you were young? Because obviously were you intimidated to go the rock star on the microphone? Therefore, I'm going to take a back because that's why I didn't.
It's funny. I never, I mean, I never, it's God, it's so funny to think about because I loved rock and roll and like rock stars and stuff so much as a kid. And then when I discovered country, there was kind of a new wave of country with like Eric Church and Brad Paisley and stuff, like guys that were writing a little bit differently. And it kind of in the '90s, the country songs were like in the bar and in the honky tonk. And I
Mhm.
feel like a wave of 2000s that appealed to more of like either like thought-provoking stuff or like good old boy, you know, things that I could finally relate to. And I fell in love with that. So, but I never, I moved here for songwriting, but I never, once I got into country, like my brain was like country, and I never thought of the like rock and roll thing for a really, really long time. So it's funny that how much I loved that when I was a kid, how far I got away from it, and now how much I've gone back to that and not really thought about it.
Wow.
Since I was a kid. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, that is wild to think that. You got what? 14 number ones as a songwriter, right?
I think so, yeah.
Or more or something.
So I think it's 14. And
Crazy.
one rock and roll, baby. That's all I need is one.
Do you see yourself now, like, well, I'll get to that in a minute, but like with the growth of the albums, right? And Mockingbird and the Crow is to me I relate to that song.
Sure.
And I was talking about the album, but that song specifically kind of goes back to what I was saying, touching on earlier. There's so many areas that I relate to your music and you is like, I do feel in my career, the earlier days, that maybe some of the videos you watch with Good Charlotte and all those, you know, I was exploring the craft, and maybe at times I felt like I was just kind of doing what others were expecting, or more importantly, that guy's in my field. That guy's doing those videos for 500,000. Let me go do this for 200, and I can make it look just as good.
Yeah.
So I would do a reverse engineer of what he's doing, or
Yeah.
they were doing, and I remember in my life the turning point when I said, "Wow, you have a bigger responsibility just as an artist to do what you're feeling and what is channeling through you."
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the record, the album and the record. And can we talk about that for a moment?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely.
What was the turning thing for you that made you want to explore?
You know, what's funny is the quote, so and so walked so something could run kind of thing. It was, for me, it was, Hicks Tape Volume 1 had some rock heavy stuff, but like the song Boots, which was actually on the record prior to Mockingbird and the Crow, a rock. That is the song that like we put a breakdown in it, and we released that. That was the first song on the album that got released. I think maybe before One Beer, we put One Beer on the album, but and like I put Boots out in like 2020 in like April, I think, and then we didn't play a show until November. We played a little run in Florida. Second Florida opened up, we were down there. We were playing, and when I played Boots, and how it just went like I didn't. You see fans react to it. They make TikTok videos and whatever and this and that, but like you don't know how well a song is going to go over live until you do it. And I'm telling you, like we were someplace in Gainesville, I can't remember, but we played it and it fucking went bananas. And in my mind, I was like, and what was so great about that was I wasn't just like, oh, I guess I could lean into this whole rock thing. It was like, this is what I have wanted to do the entire time. And that moment is proof that I know for a fact that it's going to fucking work.
It was a feeling too.
Yeah, dude. I
felt
felt
something.
it. And there was like a void in like, I felt like in country where like you have a lot of rockier, edgier guys, but I was like, I think we could really just fucking send it and make this the thing and keep pushing this boundary. And after Boots came, like Sold Out was shortly after that, and then that was just like a rinse and repeat, and it went off. And then after that, I was like, let's do it. And that's how the Crow became a thing. That I needed a few songs to really give me the courage, because it's definitely, I mean, it's definitely, I would have seen it to be a lot harder for me to just my first record out of the gate be this hard rock country thing. I think it's just kind of a part of your journey and you discovering yourself. As my earlier stuff was, I do still think it was different, but it was definitely sounded a lot like the other things.
Yeah.
And just it takes a little bit of courage and a little bit of encouragement from your fans and stuff to really kind of become who you are, or at least that for me.
I love that you said that because I feel like your fans and how you keep an ear to them, to the
Totally.
streets, is
Yeah.
also different than I maybe I'm privy to a lot of artists, but like you really do have. How important is that to you and your music to stay so connected to them?
You got to do it, dude. Especially I've learned, and I would not have it any other way, that like you either love me or you hate me. I mean, I have a very
Yeah.
polarizing fan base, but the fans, and I know them by their names, dude. I know them by their faces. Like I know it's like when you do a research study and like they get like
Yeah.
100 people. Like I know the 100 people, man. I love them, and I mean, I see what they say, and uh, but I think it's incredibly important. But I say that, but like my shit is so all over the place. Like from like a song like "Sign Sober You" to
Mm-hmm.
whatever the heaviest song is, and like
Hell, Jim Bob.
Jim Bob, yes, dude. And so although I do listen to my fans, I feel like it's such a spectrum of stuff that I just give them, and I'm like, hope y'all love this.
That's interesting because, again, for someone who was, you admitted, like, I came in hoping, going for the songwriting, and then pow, through a lot of work. I'm not saying that you're on this stage, you're a megastar.
No, I mean
It's like, do
that's
you
still how it feels.
feel like you have a role to be a role model to your fans and to the kids and such that could also jeopardize the artistry? Does
Ah,
you see
sure.
which comes for, or how is that balance to you?
That's a great question. That is an awesome question. Man, I don't promote. I promote drinking and maybe a little bit of smoking weed, but like I don't promote anything that I think fuels hate, like on stage or with my artistry. And I, for the most part, depending on the person, but I feel like I am very kind and respectful off stage and with my online presence. And I don't know. I just feel like having that balance of like, I understand what you mean with like the whole like is this something a kid should look up to with the
Well,
motherfucker and all the
if
middle
they
fingers and
interpret
stuff
it
like
wrong.
that? Yeah, true. Well, that's
A lyric is meant for interpretation,
sure.
and maybe you're perceiving it or you're writing it with fact to you,
Sure.
and it's interpreted. Has that happened? And if how do you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there was definitely the I don't know what gate we would call it, Devil Gate, a couple of years ago. I can't remember. I put out a metal T-shirt.
Okay.
That's a great example. And it should have been a deer head, but it wasn't. And it was just it was a Hardy Met shirt, and crazy font,
Mm-hmm.
and it was black and white, very pagan, old, like
yeah.
Norwegian kind of
Sure.
deal. And it had a goat's head like staked into the ground. And
kind of Danziggy.
yeah,
maybe
and it just, but that was not my announcement for telling the world that I like worship the devil, and a lot of people thought it was.
Hmm.
And that's a good example of like a misinterpretation for sure. And that was the only time I think I've ever gotten online and been like, yo, y'all need to chill the fuck out. I'm not, this is not what you think it is, whatever. But
even then, people could look at Alexander's mask.
Oh yeah.
And be like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, look, I was at church yesterday. I'm obsessed with that mask.
Yeah.
I look at it from an artistic.
So do I.
You know what I mean? So, there's no right or wrong answer. I just wanted to pose an interesting perspective for you, who's a songwriter, who who you get into those lyric.
Yeah.
But also because you have such an ear to these fans, and it's such an important role that you have now that you necessarily weren't expecting.
Yeah.
That's a heavy crown to wear in some ways. Which responsibility comes first?
Yeah, true. I don't know. I mean, that's something I just feel like I'm still learning. But you say that, and you don't hear this word a lot in country, but I consider all of that all of this, the scary stuff, the whatever. It's just my art,
Yeah,
and that's you as for what you do. You can really understand that,
absolutely.
and I do think that there are artists out there that make art, and I think there are artists out there that just play the game and do the thing, and they do very well.
Yeah.
And I guess it is still art. It's just maybe their own version of art.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all this stuff, all the scary stuff and all that, man, it's just a part of my vision that I have, and it just that I can't explain, that's hanging out in the corner of my brain, but I know it when I see it, and I know it, and it's got to come out, and that's all it is, man. All that stuff. It's just a part of who Hardy is as an artist.
Yeah, expression. On the topic of that, videos, photos, your brand. How important is it to you, and how hands-on are you? Mind you, I have spoken to Justin.
Yeah.
And he did say, "Hey, don't be afraid to mention his brain children."
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Dude.
that's your real. Yeah, explain.
It's so important to me. Probably the most important thing, because lack of consistency can destroy a fan base, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Unless you do it in a tasteful way, or a way where they're going to believe you no matter what you say. If you still do, for my sake or example, like if the next piece of music I put out is way different, for lack of a better term, like if I put out a record of just 10 straight up country radio sounding songs, I think my fans would be like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But okay, I'm getting off track here. What was the last part of your question?
Brain children.
Oh, yeah.
How important it is
The
to
brand to me is like
the brand.
and being involved in it, I think is nobody knows your brand more than you, and yeah, dude, all that stuff, like with Justin, and like, just the consistency of like either funny or weird, like music videos, and being aware of that, and being involved is important, but I'm super involved. I feel like that's number one more than anything.
Do you see visuals when you're writing, or when you're recording, or both, or
More writing for sure.
okay?
Like I cannot tell you how many times that I write a song with some buddies, and say like, think about like the concept for the music video, but before the song's even done. And I feel like those just like images just kind of, it opens up a whole world of what you could talk about, details, whatever it is. But like, yeah, just having it, the more creative things there are floating around the room, I feel like it just makes for a better product, and it's like, what if think about if this music video, like, the killer was actually the girl and everybody thought it was you, whatever. But with people have that kind of stuff in mind, I feel like it, it just opens the window up a little bit more.
Were you kind of an MTV kid? Did you watch MTV?
As much as my parents would let me, yeah. And they weren't like super strict with it, but I would watch TRL every day when I came home. That was my era.
Well, I was on that a lot. I have I think at least 16 retired number ones
from TRL. That's so sick. my era, the era that I was like, that music was just firing off in my brain was like when nu metal, just like Hybrid Theory,
okay,
POD, Limp Bizkit, obviously. Breaking Benjamin. That was kind of on the later end, but 100% like So Cold and
yeah, I did those.
Did you?
I did So Cold and Diary of Jane.
Man, the first time I ever heard So Cold, my neighbor at the time had a drum set in his garage, and he would just do 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 do, and I would hear that every day. And I finally went over there one day, and I was like, "What is that?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm playing this song, learning this song by Breaking Benjamin," and it was So Cold.
That video idea came about from me driving down in LA, Lower Playa del Rey, where we had fog. And I was playing the song, and I don't know, just driving, doing whatever I was doing. But I was late to the game in getting that treatment submitted.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And then once that fog came, and when I heard that music, it was it.
That's cool.
I got it.
I need to go. I need to go watch that one.
Yeah.
You did that and Diary of Jane.
Diary of Jane. That was after the movie The Others.
Damn. That's wild. That is
yeah.
fucking crazy.
But
actually.
that,
Awesome.
that when we did, he loved that movie The Others with Nicole Kidman with the mirrors, and we tied
yeah.
tied
Okay,
that
The
into
Others.
that.
Yeah, I know that now. Yeah.
When she realizes that she has no reflection.
Oh my God, dude. That's such a good movie.
I did the what is it, the you remember Going In Blind or POD? That song?
The only record I really
Southtown.
wore out was
Southtown.
was actually Satellite. The Satellite.
Yes,
that had like it had
Youth of a Nation.
Yeah, and Boom and Alive and
Yep.
yeah, all those.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big. I love that was my era. 3 Doors Down.
Yeah, man. Brad Arnold. Shout out Brad Arnold.
Dude, Brad.
I love him.
Yes, we hope we're getting him soon. We love Brad.
Dude, I have not met him also, but I talked to him like online, and so he's a Mississippi boy, man.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I was gonna say, surprised you guys. He is a salt of the earth.
That's what I've heard, man.
The
Seems like a
greatest
good guy.
human-
His wife, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm 90% sure his wife is from Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Okay, Jen.
Yeah,
not
she.
sure.
Okay, yeah, she.
Jen. She barrel rides. She's a really.
I think
good,
they got married in Philadelphia.
That's great.
I need to fact check that.
They
but
are
I'm pretty
amazing.
Sure.
Oh, well, we don't have to fact check how awesome they are.
Nashville cat too, right?
Yeah,
now?
they live just out in. Yeah, I forget. They might have moved, but yes, not too far.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean those records were huge.
Trying to think, man. I mean, that was like all that stuff. I mean, Hybrid Theory to me was like that record fucked me up, dude. Beginning to end, I can listen to it today and probably I feel like I could hit 80% of the words. I don't know that one. Creed. I was a massive Creed fan, massive Nickelback fan. All of that stuff that kind of people call, butt rock, barbecue rock, or whatever you want to call it. I loved. I mean, it was just that shit was just hitty, man. It just couldn't deny it. And I loved, all the other stuff, all the Deftones and the stuff that wasn't that, But man, it was a cool time for me to be a teenager in the last era of real rock and roll on the radio,
Yeah.
like pop number ones that are just rock and roll songs. And then after that, it just went,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not dead, but it died to pop radio.
How was it collabing with Fred Durst?
So cool, man.
That was amazing. I bet that had to trip you out.
It was crazy. And what's funny is Fred he's a marketing like genius. And what you see, it kind of reminds me a lot of myself, but like Fred, like Limp Bizkit Fred and the attitude and everything versus like hanging out with him was so freaking different. Like,
Really?
man, they played a show in Birmingham, and I hit him up a while back and I was like, yo, I want to come to your show in Birmingham. I've never seen y'all play. One of my best friends from back home is a huge Limp Bizkit fan. And I called him and I was like, you want to go hang out with Fred Durst? He was like, fuck yeah. And this was after we had this, I think maybe I can't remember if the album was out or not yet. But anyway, me, Taylor, my tour manager, Tanner, I think Chris Reed and my buddy Chance we go down to Birmingham in my bus, park it at like a Walmart, get an Uber, go to the show. And we go in the green room. This girl's like, yeah, come on in. And Fred's just in there ironing his shirt. And he was like, oh, come on in, man. And dude, he was just literally, we sat there for 2 hours before the show. And I mean, he just hosted us and just told stories and was like the nicest guy. And then we sat there for 2 hours after the show and did the same thing. It was a really great experience. I met Wes and John and those guys too. But Fred I can't say anything. He was super, super, super nice.
Yeah, I go back with him from the early days, running around with the Crazy Town dudes, Seth.
RP.
RP. But
Crazy Town,
like just watch Star Wars. He was, Fred's loves movies, directing.
Yeah,
Fincher.
Well, that was the thing is like Limp Bizkit was like supposed to be Spinal Tap for him. And it was
exactly,
which is so insane. It's funny.
He's a very creative person.
He is
in all aspects of his business, I guess, and in creativity, different formats, all kinds of stuff.
He's a good dude though. I mean that was a kind of a pipe dream that came to life really quick. I had written the hook for Soul for Sale like years and years ago.
Yeah.
And I wanted to cut it. That was the moment to cut it if I was ever going to cut it. And so we cut it with no verses, and told Jerry Rowe, who played drums on my record, broke into that like super Linkin Park, super like almost Incubus drum beat in the verse, and just very new metal kind of vibe. And I was just like, man, I didn't know if I was going to write verses and sing it or like what.
Oh.
And Joey was like, get Greg Thompson, who was at Big Loud at the time, was like, he was like, get Greg to just see if he can get it to Fred Durst. And I was like, there's no way that's going to happen. And dude, like a week later, Greg texted me and he was like, and I was in Italy, and he was like, you're probably going to get a text or a call from Fred Durst today. And I was like, holy shit. And dude, me and Callie were walking down the street in Venice, and I got a text and I was like, yo, what up? This is Fred. Love the song, blah, blah, blah. It might have been a voice note. I can't remember, but rest is history. Just hopped right on it. It was really cool.
That's cool. Check that box, right?
Yeah, dude, no doubt. No doubt.
Along with, I mean, how did the collab go with
Chad?
No, the with Gin and
with Snoop and Dre.
I mean, holy.
That was crazy. I mean, the Jimmy Iovine, I think what happened was, this is what I think the real story is, that Jimmy reached out to Brian O'Connell, who runs Live Nation Nashville. I hope that's the right way to put that. But and said we need a country artist to do a Gin and Juice cover to help promote the Gin and Juice that they have coming out. And shout out to Brian. Brian said me. He said, this is who you should have do it. And then I didn't, that was all unbeknownst to me. I didn't find that out until way after. But and then Seth basically called me one day and was like, kind of like, are you sitting down kind of thing? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I just got a call from Jimmy Iovine, and he wants you to do a cover of Gin and Juice, and can you hop on a Zoom call tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I get on this fucking Zoom call, and like the first person that pops up is Dr. Dre. I'm sitting right here. I'm sitting right here on that computer. And then it's Jimmy, and then Tracker, and then Seth, a couple other people. And I was just like, it was all so fast. Oh no, I'll tell you what it was. It was at Tracker's, second Zoom call was here. It was at Tracker's wedding. I went over to Seth's hotel room, and he just pops open his computer and was like, this could be a scam. This could be some Nigerian prince shit. And we opened it up, and there they are, dude. And anyway, just kind of went back and forth. They let me sort of take, the liberties that I took on the cover. And then, it kind of happened again. They were like, can y'all come out and shoot a music video? And I was like, is like Snoop and Dre going to be there? And Seth was like, they're going to be in it. And I was like, done. I mean, it was amazing. It was I felt like I was like a fever dream. It was like, I had the weirdest dream last night. I did a cover of Gin and Juice and shot a video with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg cussed me out on camera. It was really cool. That's like a huge experience, for like top 3 experience of my life for me. That was like, and Callie got to be there and got to meet Snoop and Dre, and they were both like so nice and just very professional. 10 out of 10 experience.
I love that music videos still matter to you, and you still kind of, I love them, and I'll always love them. Do you have a video that you have done that hits all the nerves, both from the song and from execution, that really?
Mine is A Rock. Yeah, that's a cool, man, that video, the way it's all one shot, and then you watch this family's life kind of unfold.
Yeah. And
then at the end, it obviously, spoiler alert, the song's 5 years old. But the husband dies in the end, and then, but my favorite shot, it's funny, I got the treatment when, not the treatment, I got the first draft or whatever, which there's really kind of only one, the way it's edited. And I was with Morgan. We were about to go eat hibachi right down the street, and we're watching it on my phone in my truck. And at the very end, it shows this progression of life, and then it rewinds like really quick, and it just kind of like strikes a chord of like how fast life goes by.
Yeah. And
I look over at Morgan, and he's got a tear in his eye, and I've got a tear in my eye. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is going on right now? But man, that is a special song that I just felt like I was very lucky to just be a part of, and like just felt like I kind of just held the pen on that one, and you know, somebody else, that was like a weird God song thing, because I like barely remember writing it. I don't know. And then just to have a music video that really says something and teaches a lesson, because you go read the comments, man, and everybody's just like, man, this, you know, it's a great reminder that life is short and blah 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 and this and that, and that's all I could ever want out of like
more
a
than
response.
just fluff, more than just visual.
Wait in the truck was amazing.
Yeah,
it was like a cinematic thing, but there's something so special about a rock that just it was really simple, but it hits hard, man.
Yeah. What was your idea, or whose idea was it for Mockingbird and the Crow,
dude,
to be claymation?
That was mine. I will take credit for that.
You know
one,
why?
dude.
Because I was gonna say that seems like Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies, Nutshell, or whatever the you know, Far Away, or
is it Wood? No, it's
no, not Wood. I think it's Jar of Flies.
And Tool did one also.
Yes, well, they did.
And Primus did one.
I was saying Primus on the way here. Primus. Yes.
Yep. They did the Southbound Pachyderm, I think, or it was one of those.
Yeah, that's right. I was gonna say Primus too.
I just knew that I wanted it to be animated, and then I think I sent I just sent everybody a link of Celebrity Deathmatch and was like, just make it like this. And I didn't really have any. I was like, y'all make a treatment. I was like, send me something, you know, like, you can write the storyline. I just want something cool and animated. And I was like, I want it to be fucking weird. You know what I mean? I want it to be trippy, and I want it to have moments. That was the big thing. I was like, the only thing that I care about is the switch over needs to be like some crazy transformation.
Yeah.
And they killed it, dude. It's fucking awesome.
So good.
My favorite part of that is and I found it on YouTube one time. I need to go back and find it again. But I think it's a girl. But the part where like she basically makes a clay scene out of it, like, and shapes it like a loaf of bread, and will and like thinly cut the clay and then take a photo, and then thinly cut the clay and take a photo, and then she runs them all together, and it's so that it's this changing, and then puts a camera on it. Does that make sense?
Yes, but how long did that take?
I don't know. I don't know the girl. I've never met her. But there's like one spot where it's like, dude, it's so sick. It's like you can tell that it's a still. It's not like 3D. It's like just the still thing, but like my face is changing and shit's going on, and it's that, and it's like 20 seconds long. It's like a long. That shit is that I giggled like a little girl when I got that video back. I was like, this is fucking sick.
Do you ever get nervous getting, you know, like getting videos back? I'm like, oh God, I hope this is going to be right.
Yeah,
or,
sometimes.
You know, in music too, you get hope of this mix. But even with music, you probably know I'm going to be able to this.
Yeah, it's like if the video is wrong, it's just fucking wrong. And you got to go do it again. Where it's like the mix, you can kind of fix anything. You know what I mean? Flying a completely different snare, whatever it is, but you can't just AI a different actor into a music video these days. Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
But yeah, I mean, I have, you know, so far I haven't been really disappointed in a music video.
We got a pro doing
dude,
them
that's
all.
definitely. Especially the more the more you care about it, you know, or the more it is your brainchild. It's like when you get it back, you're like, please God, I hope this is, you know, this is right, or at least close. I hope we're moving in the right direction. But no, Justin usually kills it.
Do you stay pretty involved with Tanner, or do you just have to keep Tanner on a leash?
Yes and yes. Now Tanner is dude, Tanner and I have such we have a bond for a lot of reasons. The bus wreck is a big one, but man, he just from day one has always understood the brand. He completely gets that. Like, he's never said anything that I've been like, that ain't it, dude. You know, whatever his vision, he's helped create the brand. I mean, I think Tanner has helped me like sell tickets because of how awesome and how hype, you know, the moments that he captures in the show,
No doubt.
how he re-portrays that. And but he's a wild one too. I got to keep him. I definitely have to be like, hey, chill out every now and then.
Absolutely. Now, do you have like
Love you, Tanner.
off the cuff? But I still feel like this pertains to your videos and your brain. But do you have a favorite movie
of all time?
You and I have talked about Gummo.
Gummo is up there for me. Dude, and I'll tell you why. And Cal, it's funny because Callie's like, you just like saying that because it's fucked up and weird and you just want to sound artsy. And I'm like, kind of. But one of the reasons that Gummo is so great is because they capture, like, dude, all those trashy kids. Like, I knew those kids growing up, dude. Like, those people are real. And it's funny, I was just texting Callie's cousin who actually grew up in Asia, in Laos, and has only been back over here for like 4 or 5 years. And he's a film guy. And I was like, watch Gummo. And he was like, and I told him the same thing. And he was like, wait, you like knew people like that? And I was like, bro, they're everywhere. These people, this is it was a wonderful depiction, aside from like the tornado came and killed all the adults and the weirdness. I was like, it captures like the wrestling the chair scene in the kitchen. Like, I've been in that room before in some form or fashion, and for it to be able to capture
You're connected
just that
to
thing. Yeah, I do. It's like I didn't grow up white trash by any means, but like just I know that. I know that culture and that scene and those people and what they look like and all that shit, man. And Harmony did it like perfect to me. That's why I love it so much.
Why do you, because I agree with you. I'm drawn to these things too. I'm drawn to some, I can answer for why I feel like I'm drawn to them, because I didn't, not to them, but to things that are such contrast to what I know. I'm just drawn to those things. You're saying it because you lived in it and you get it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why
because it's affected in like what you appreciate,
especially with
and
Gummo.
all the things
those people are never represented ever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They're never depicted ever, and if they are, it's usually wrong. So like the fact that it was so correct and it was so representative of basically American white trash, like I was just like that just draws me to that, because I'm like, fuck yeah, you did it. I don't know.
I did a back 2008 or so. I did a very large Uncle Kracker Kid Rock kind of video, and it was in Arizona, and it was awesome because I grew up there, and I was bringing this huge job back there.
Yeah,
and the whole thing was that Uncle Kracker is making his way from A to B, and all the oddities. I even wrote that in the treatment, and it was all referencing the movie Gummo, which is on top of the treatment. Bunny ears on the kid, all the little all the little things. Well, the video came out amazing, and it got shelved.
No way.
Because somewhere along the top, someone didn't read the treatment, and they were like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
And it's back to bunny ears and crazy weird things as Uncle Cracker's walking down this railroad track going, "What the fuck?"
Did Cracker love it?
Yeah, he loved it.
Damn, bro. What the fuck?
Isn't that crazy? See? And then he did some.
Did it ever come out?
No.
Oh my god.
Only I have it. And that's even on a digi beta, which I probably can't even find. You know,
yeah, you can't even format that to actually watch it.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Something, not to go a different direction for a second, but I remember on your last show of your 3 days here in Nashville, not recent, but a while back.
Yeah.
I was photographing all of them.
Yeah.
And
at Municipal, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And on the third one, you and I were alone backstage, and I said to you, I go, man, I really appreciate you addressing anxieties and mental health and just putting a light on it, because I go through it a lot. I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
And we bonded over that, and we said we were going to maybe touch on that.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Do you feel like where does it come from for you? Meaning, it could be a multitude of things, but is it that here we are, like you are a role model. You do have pressure.
Yeah.
All those things, or is it time is moving? You have well, we're gonna get that in a second.
Mine is not situational. So like the real serious anxiety that I have gotten in the past couple of years has not been like, oh, I have this thing coming up, I'm freaking out, or like, oh, I got drunk last night and said this to that person, I'm freaking out. Like, mine has never been like that. Mine has always been this weird feeling that I'm not safe, and I don't know why. It's at least that's what I've learned through therapy. But I'm telling you, a lot of mine came on. The really heavy stuff came on after the bus wreck, and I think that I just went through like a year and a half of not healthfully processing that.
Yeah.
But and also when I was like an infant baby, I had some I got like a staph infection and I had to have a hernia surgery. And I told my therapist back when I was really going through it, she was like, man, your brain can hold on. You can hold on to that stuff. Your brain is your brain, right? It doesn't do a wipe every 5 years. So like, even if you went through something that you don't necessarily remember, like your brain has stored it in there. And sometimes those moments of like, I'm not safe come out, even if, that's something you felt when you were a kid. But mine is just always like, something bad's about to happen. And you know what I mean? Which is kind of anxiety, I feel like in a nutshell, but, it's so funny that it's not triggered by like a thing. Like,
That's good.
This is terrible. Like if a meteor hit across the street, I don't think I would go into a panic and be like, this is the end of the world or whatever it is. It just, mine's always, it'll just be a wave of like heart's beating really fast kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of comes out of nowhere.
Mine, I've kind of identified mine through therapy as well. Is performance anxiety.
Really? Like when you shoot?
Well, I was a nationally ranked tennis player as a young kid. Very good. And tennis is a very perfectionist sport, especially to be at that level so young. And that's the only way you can do it is by playing so much.
Yeah.
I think I learned in tennis is a game of inches, game of millimeters, and in here. And it's a lot of responsibility, a lot at risk, a lot of money being put into these things. Well, that as a kid stemmed doing that and then stemming into young directing Bone Thugs and Harmony at 19 years old, wanting to capitalize in that moment.
Yeah, sure.
To not fall, putting too much importance or whatever it is. I felt over the years it's a demon. Even Good Charlotte would clap on set if I was to snap or get out of, like I was young, I'd get overwhelmed and I would snap, whatever. And they would just start clapping. I'm like, what the fuck? What? Like, we just now know it's going to be a great set. We just had to get that demon out.
Yeah.
It's never, they told me that in New Zealand on Girls and Boys video.
You shot that video?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, that's sick. That's like one of the best videos and songs I've ever. That moment for them is amazing.
But I really think it's awesome that you address it because it's real.
Yeah, it is.
And it's in everywhere. It's all over. It's not just what we do. But it is. It's interesting to rise above it and keep moving through it. And it's our journey as artists.
It's hard, man. It's hard to swallow it. It's funny how many people telling you, man. And I said this last year. I truly believe that if you're one of those people that are skeptic or you're like, just swallow it, you haven't had it bad. Because when it's bad, it's just horrible, man. It's like, I don't really think I know a feeling that is worse than that feeling. I don't think that there is one. It's the worst feeling in the world. I lost my coping
mechanism. I lost how to cope with fear, how to cope. I was scared to do jobs.
Yeah, man.
I would come up with excuses to not do the job that made me sound like I was there, but the job would go away. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It's just like,
yeah. You're like, not worth my time, but really,
now that I'm riffing with you right now, but I know when it happened, when my business, because when I was young, I was just a kid in the room. I was just the director.
Yeah.
Dumb and going to go living creative space. But I had companies doing all of the business work.
Right.
But when it all changed and the shit hit the fan in 2008, whatever, now I'm the business.
Yeah.
I had business. I didn't know how to deal with that. And so I got scared of the business because I didn't know if that was going to make me fumble.
Sure.
It wasn't creative ever.
Yeah, am I never going to be creative again? Is this going to kill my shit? Man, it's a real thing. And it's just kind of crazy how I hold on to like that it's very chemical and like it's also like the biggest thing for me is that a few people have been like, give it 10 minutes and the wave, it will pass. I know you have days where like, you just kind of have an anxious day, but that peak, that like, this is horrible, is just like a wave. And literally like your brain chemistry it'll level back out.
Mhm.
And dude, anytime in the past year or so that I've had like a bad wave, that alone, like going to that thought before like I'm dying or like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have a panic attack. Like the first thought maybe being like, all right, this is gonna pass, just ride it out. That has helped me like tremendously because
Really?
it always, not one time has it lasted more than 15 minutes. And usually,
Mm.
if you just go into it with that mindset, 5 minutes, maybe not even that. But I'm
Love it.
telling you, man, it's like
Love it.
knowing it'll pass, recognizing it, feeling that wave come on, and being like, just chill.
Well, that's amazing that you've got that clarity now because you're about to step into the biggest chapter of your a very big chapter of your life.
I would call it the biggest. I think.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. We are
in
so
order
excited
for the new addition to the Hardy family.
Yeah.
So what is that like for you? How's
Man.
that going to change things?
It's going to change everything. I just, yeah, my biggest, it's funny. Everybody's the same. They're like, man, you just sort of go home and you're like, fuck, now I got to keep this thing alive, but, like, what do I do now?
It's
like,
kinda true.
where did all the nurses and shit go? But we're excited, man. I mean, Callie is going to be a great mom. My parents live down the street. Her parents are wonderful and are very involved. We're going to have a ton of, we'll have a good, nice, we'll just have a lot of help starting out.
Yeah.
And it's baby girl will be born into a really great situation. We couldn't be luckier. Callie's been healthy the whole time, but man, it is. I know that it's going to change, but dude, I'm 34. I have been to many places and I have done many great things, and I'm good, dude. I don't have any sense that in my life that I have not done enough as not single, as a kidless parent or childless adult that is holding me back from not being excited as fuck about having a kid.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. And so I would love to just come home every night and chill. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to that, kind of that next chapter of my life.
Are you going to are you also looking forward to possibly having new emotions channel into your songwriting?
Hell yeah, dude.
As artists, new inspiration.
100%. New just concepts in general. I have been extremely excited about and I have zero yet. I don't feel anything yet. And I don't think that a few of my buddies have been like, let me tell you something, dude. And it's different for everybody, but they were like, these people, a lot of these guys that are like, since the day you came out, like I've been in love with you. And they're like, that's bullshit. The first 3 months, you're just looking at like a lifeless set of eyeballs that can't even see you. But they're like, the second that thing gets an emotion and smiles or like laughs, that is when it is on. And I can't wait for that.
I remember mine with my son. It was not babysitting him, but just taking care of him. He looked at me and he didn't look away. I don't forget what age it was, a year and a half or so. It was It was like,
yeah.
whoa.
It's like, the connection is like insane.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
That's awesome.
Is it going to affect touring at all? Or now you have the fam on a bigger, different.
I mean, it'll definitely affect the way how I behave on the road. You know how we do.
Yeah, I do.
But that is one thing that I'm nervous about, just the late nights mixed with early mornings. But it is what it is. Lots of people do it, and we're raw dogging it, dude. We're not gonna do a nanny. We're just gonna be parents. It's one kid. Come on,
be parents.
We're gonna
own it.
Yeah, that's right.
I love
it. We did it, so we gotta own up to it. And it won't affect my touring schedule. Let's put it that way. I think, until. As of right now, I'm touring hard in the summer, and that's pretty much all I'm doing. And I did that last year, and I freaking loved it. So that'll just be the same. But yeah, the little caveats of I might actually eat catering breakfast for the first time in my life.
You'll be awake.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll be up.
But it'll be good. It'll add a new excitement and I feel like it'll kind of be a new breath in my lungs of like why I do this, and can look over and see baby and be like, this is fucking crazy, and be the best for them so that this doesn't go away, so that we, all that kind of stuff.
It's going to open up a superpower, and you already know.
I hope so. Yeah.
You guys are going to be great, man. Hey, I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
I would love to be selfishly, put that mask back on.
Dude,
I love that.
let me
mask,
go
but
get it
also
for
I
you.
noticed that there's the quit napkin.
Yeah.
That's the quit napkin. I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
the quit napkin.
There it is. We got that
man,
is amazing, man. There's the underdog in you. You know why? I know the underdog in you.
Because I kept that thing.
Yeah. That was it, man.
Dude,
I knew it.
my drunk ass put that, I folded it up and like put it in my pocket. And when I got this, you know, that was years ago. And when I got back to Nashville from this beach trip, riding trip thing I was on, I opened it up and I just remember, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, it's the napkin, the asshole wrote. And I stuck it on a piece of cork board. And dude, it just has survived it's 10 years old now. Let me go get the mask for you, dude. You've got to put it on.
Okay.
But I'll tell the story. I don't think. Oh wait, I did do that on camera.
I don't know.
Alex.
Yeah, you can do it now. Oh yeah, we did. We talked about
We started with that. Thing is so. I have a Halloween costume for life now.
Y'all don't know. No one's.
And you can just pull those two straps and make it like, that's good. Bro. I mean, it makes anybody look cool, dude. It's fucking sick. That is so sick. And it's scary, bro. It's scary.
Wow.
Just to reiterate, Alex is such a nice guy, and I haven't met him yet, but he is just a nice guy. He's Russian, so his English is like really good, but it's a little broken. As far as broken, he's like has a broken English Russian accent, and I posted a video recently of me like, screaming in the car, and Callie was like I was practicing my low growl, and she was laughing, and he commented something like, "Why your wife laughing?" I thought that was pretty good or whatever, but it was very like. He typed it at like I could hear it. You know what I mean? He kind of has
so
like an Arnold
amazing.
Schwarzenegger type thing, and it was
Just don't go beating your head with that thing. Holy.
I actually tried that in Starkville, and I didn't do it hard enough. And the one time I did it, I was like, "Fuck, that hurt." And the next day, I had like the mesh microphone, like whatever the regular microphone
Sure
is.
mic?
Just literally, yeah,
The
Sure
Shure
mic.
logo.
No,
right
literally
there.
across my hand. I was like, dude, I'm such a pussy. I literally couldn't even break the skin on my own head, dude.
Oh man, this has been such a blast. Man.
Yeah, I enjoyed
thank
it.
you, man. We got snow outside. It's
It's
beautiful
vibey.
day.
It's a little vibey,
Yeah,
wintry day,
dude.
dude. I love it.
Well, go enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Thank you, brother. You the man.